Imagine a place so cold that your breath freezes instantly into ice crystals, where exposed skin gets frostbite in under a minute, where normal steel becomes as brittle as glass, and even the ground beneath your feet is frozen solid year-round, down to 1,500 meters deep. This is Oymyakon, Russia, the coldest permanently inhabited place on Earth. In 1924, a temperature of 71.2 degrees Celsius was recorded here. That's 96 Fahrenheit, cold enough to freeze boiling water mid-air. Yet, 500 people call this frozen world home. So how do you engineer life where nature says it's impossible? Oymyakon sits in the Sakha Republic of Russia, in northeastern Siberia, one of the most remote corners of our planet. Located in a valley at 750 meters above sea level, this is their extraordinary story. The name Oymyakon comes from the Yakut language, meaning unfrozen patch of water, an ironic name for the coldest inhabited place on Earth. This refers to a nearby thermal spring where reindeer herders once watered their animals. Originally, this was just a temporary stopping point for reindeer herders during their seasonal migrations. But in the 1930s, under Soviet policy, the nomadic population was forced to settle permanently. What was meant as a temporary camp became a permanent town, a place where humans would have to engineer survival against nature's most extreme conditions. Let's put these temperatures in perspective. The average January temperature here is 50 degrees Celsius. Summer offers brief relief, with temperatures occasionally reaching 30 degrees Celsius, creating an incredible annual temperature range of over 100 degrees Celsius, one of the highest on Earth. Today, around 500 souls live here permanently. They're not scientists on a research mission. They're not temporary workers. These are families, teachers, shop owners, mechanics, children going to school, living full lives in conditions that would kill an unprepared person in hours. But how? How do you build a house when the ground is permanently frozen? How do you keep a car running? How do you even deliver water when pipes freeze solid? The answer lies in extraordinary engineering and the remarkable resilience of the human spirit. The first challenge any engineer faces in Oymyakon is the ground itself. Dig down anywhere here and you'll hit permafrost, permanently frozen soil that extends 1,500 meters. That's nearly a mile of solid frozen earth. You might think frozen ground would be stable, perfect for building. You'd be wrong. Here's the problem. When you construct a normal building, the heat from inside radiates downward. In Oymyakon, this heat begins melting the permafrost beneath. The soil thaws, becomes unstable, shifts and settles unevenly. Your building cracks, tilts, and eventually collapses. Soviet engineers learned this lesson the hard way in the early years. Several buildings failed catastrophically. The solution is ingenious. Every building in Oymyakon stands on stilts, concrete or steel pillars driven 8 to 10 meters deep into the permafrost, with the building elevated 1 to 2 meters above the ground. This air gap is critical. It acts as thermal insulation, preventing the building's heat from reaching the frozen earth below. Some foundations even include adjustable jacks, allowing engineers to level the building if any settling does occur. These foundation systems can add 40 to 60% to construction costs compared to standard buildings. A simple home that might cost $50,000 elsewhere could cost $80,000 here, just for the foundation engineering alone. There's no alternative. Build directly on the ground, and within 5 years your building will be uninhabitable. One resident, interviewed by Siberian Times, explained, "My grandfather's generation saw buildings collapse because they didn't understand the permafrost. Now we know. You must respect the frozen earth. It's not solid ground, it's ice pretending to be rock." Walk through Oymyakon on a winter morning, and you'll notice something strange. Every single car engine is running, not because people are about to leave, but because they never turned them off. In temperatures below 50 degrees Celsius, if you turn off your car engine, the motor oil thickens into a gel-like substance. The coolant can freeze despite antifreeze. The battery loses up to 60% of its power capacity. Most critically, the engine block itself can crack from the extreme cold. Turn off your engine, and you may never start it again without industrial heating equipment. So Oymyakon's vehicle owners face a choice. Either keep the engine running continuously during winter months, consuming fuel 24 hours a day, or have access to a heated garage, which itself requires significant energy to maintain. But even running engines need special engineering. Mechanics here use synthetic oil rated to 60 degrees Celsius or lower, special diesel fuel with additives to prevent gelling, multi-layered battery insulation and heating systems, reinforced hoses and belts made from cold-resistant materials, preheating systems for the engine block. The economic reality is striking. According to regional transport reports, fuel consumption in winter can be 3 to 4 times higher than in normal climates. A vehicle that would cost $50 monthly in fuel elsewhere might cost $200 here, just to keep it alive. But as one local driver told researchers from the University of Alaska Fairbanks Arctic Studies program, "The car is like a living thing here. You feed it, keep it warm, never let it sleep in winter. It's not luxury, it's our lifeline to the outside world." The nearest city is 900 kilometers away. Here's a fact that seems impossible. In Oymyakon, one of the wettest substances on Earth becomes one of the rarest. There's no running water in most homes. The reason is simple physics. You cannot bury water pipes deep enough to escape the permafrost. Any waterline, no matter how well insulated, will eventually freeze solid. When water freezes, it expands with tremendous force, enough to burst steel pipes. The only solution is above-ground pipes, wrapped in insulation 1/2 meter thick and continuously heated. This works for the central heating system, where hot water circulates constantly. But for drinking water that sits still in pipes? Impossible. So water comes by truck. Special insulated tankers with heated cargo tanks deliver water to homes, where it's stored in indoor containers. These storage tanks must be kept inside the heated living space, or they too will freeze solid. Some residents practice an ancient method, harvesting ice blocks from the nearby Ingenuity River. These blocks, stored in insulated sheds, are melted indoors as needed. It's a technique unchanged for centuries, because sometimes the old ways are the engineering that works. Toilets present another challenge. Without running water, many homes use what's called a long drop system, essentially an outdoor pit toilet. In summer, these function normally. In winter, waste freezes almost immediately, creating its own preservation problem that's only resolved during the brief summer thaw. A school teacher told National Geographic researchers, "My students in other countries take a shower whenever they want. Turn on a tap for a glass of water. Here, my children understand that water is precious. Every litre is delivered, carried, heated, conserved. This teaches respect for resources that modern world has forgotten." Survival in Oymyakon is fundamentally a thermal engineering problem. how to maintain a 70-degree temperature difference between inside and outside. The village relies on a central heating plant that burns coal continuously. Hot water, heated to 120 degrees Celsius under pressure, flows through massive insulated pipes suspended above ground throughout the village. These pipes, visible everywhere, are the arteries keeping Oymyakon alive. Each pipe is a masterpiece of thermal engineering. Inner steel pipe carrying superheated water, multiple layers of specialized insulation, outer protective casing, heat tracing cables for backup warmth. Even with all this, heat loss is significant. Studies from the Siberian branch of the Russian Academy of Sciences show that heating buildings here consumes 5 to 6 times more energy than in moderate climates. Individual homes employ every trick of thermal engineering. Walls up to 60 centimeters thick, triple or quadruple glazed windows, double door entryways creating airlock zones, windows sometimes covered with animal fur for additional insulation. But residents know that technology can fail. Every home maintains a backup heating source, usually a traditional wood or coal stove. This isn't nostalgia, it's survival insurance. An elderly resident whose family has lived here for 3 generations shared this wisdom with Arctic anthropologists. The power plant is Soviet engineering. Good, strong, but my grandmother told me, never trust only one fire in winter. Always have a second way to make warmth. Engineering keeps people alive in Oymyakon, but what makes this place remarkable is that life doesn't just survive here, it thrives. The local school only closes when temperatures drop below 52 degrees Celsius. Yes, you heard that correctly. Children attend school in 45 degrees Celsius weather. They wear multiple layers of fur clothing, cover every inch of exposed skin, and the outdoor recess is exactly 3 minutes long, enough to get fresh air, short enough to prevent frostbite. The local market is unlike anywhere else on Earth. Fish aren't kept on ice, they are ice. Vendors stack frozen fish like cordwood, and they'll stay fresh for months without refrigeration. Nature has provided the world's most reliable freezer. The traditional diet has evolved through centuries of trial and error. Rich in fats and proteins, reindeer meat, horse meat, fish, it provides the calories necessary to maintain body heat. Stroganina, a dish of thinly sliced frozen fish or meat eaten raw, is a local delicacy that's both cultural tradition and nutritional necessity. And then summer arrives. For about 3 months, temperatures rise above freezing. The land transforms, wildflowers bloom. The same soil that was harder than concrete becomes mud. The permafrost beneath never thaws, creating poor drainage and extensive swamps. During June and July, the sun barely sets, replaced by the dark polar winter when it barely rises. This extreme light cycle affects everything from sleep patterns to mental health, adding another dimension to the challenge of life here. But perhaps the most important engineering isn't in the buildings or the vehicles, it's social engineering. The community here is exceptionally tight-knit. People check on neighbours. Knowledge is shared. Help is given without asking, as one resident told BBC reporters. In warm places, people can survive alone. Not here. Here, community is infrastructure. We are the most important technology. The question outsiders always ask is, why? Why would anyone choose to live here? Oymyakon sits in the Sakha Republic, one of the richest regions on Earth for natural resources. Diamonds, gold, oil, natural gas, and rare earth minerals lie beneath this frozen landscape. The extreme cold isn't a barrier, it's the price of access to extraordinary wealth. But ask the residents, and you'll get different answers. Some speak of heritage. This is our ancestral land. Our people have survived here for thousands of years. Others talk about pride. We do what others say is impossible. Some mention the unspoiled nature, air so clean it hurts to breathe, stars so bright they seem touchable. And many speak of something deeper, a life that's more real, more present, when every day requires attention and respect for the elements. Yet change is coming. Young people leave for education and easier lives. The population has declined from nearly 1,200 in the Soviet era to around 500 today. Climate change is altering permafrost stability, creating new engineering challenges. The world is reaching into even this remote corner. A young mother who returned to Oymyakon after studying in Moscow told researchers, "Yes, it's hard. Yes, my university friends think I'm crazy." But where else do you know every neighbour's name? Where else does your child understand that life requires effort, respect, and community? These are not small things. Oymyakon is more than the coldest inhabited place on Earth. It's a testament to human ingenuity and adaptation. Every building standing on stilts above the frozen ground, every engine running through the endless winter night, every litre of water delivered and conserved, every child walking to school in 45 degrees Celsius. These are not just facts. They're solutions to problems most engineers will never face. They're proof that with knowledge, technology, and community, humans can make home in the harshest environments our planet offers. The engineers who designed these systems solved incredible problems. But the real engineering marvel isn't the buildings or the heating systems, it's the people. People who looked at a place where nature says impossible and answered, "We'll find a way." In an age when we're planning to colonize Mars and build cities underwater, Oymyakon reminds us that extreme engineering isn't always about the future or other planets. Sometimes it's about the extraordinary everyday, happening right now on our own Earth, in places where survival itself is an engineering achievement. This is Oymyakon, where cold forges steel, both metal and human. Which engineering solution amazed you most? The permafrost foundations, the non-stop running cars, or the community that makes it all possible? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to explore more incredible engineering at Earth's extremes, subscribe and join me as we continue discovering the amazing rare sights and extraordinary engineering of our remarkable world.